Okay, volume of prisms. To find the volume of any right prism, the formula is V equals capital B H, where the capital B is the area of the base, or V equals LWH, which is length times width times height. Okay. So now to find the volume of these figures, of these rectangles, we have our formula. First of all, let's find our length, which is 12 inches. Our height, which is 3. And our length, or our width, which is 6. So now we have our formula, which you can use either one of these. And I'm going to use our capital BH because in anything that we have as far as our cheat sheets, that's what they will use. So I'm going to use capital BH. And the area of the base, which would be this right here, which is length, length times width we need. So length times width, which would be length times width, which would be this in here. So we have volume equals length, which is 12, width, which is 6, and then the 3, which is the height. And because it's all one operation, we can multiply it all at once. So we've got the 12 times 6 times 3. So that is 216. Our label is inches. And because it is volume, it's cubed. So our next example, we have find the volume of a triangular prism. It's still the same formula, but our base here is a triangle, okay? So we have volume equals capital B H, but in this case, the volume, the area of the base in this case is 1/2 base times height of the triangle times the height of the prism, which this is the height. The height of the prism is the distance between one triangle and the other. So here we have 1/2 times the base of the triangle, which is the 8 feet right here. So the 8 feet times the height of the triangle, which is by the box. Remember, opposite the box is the hypotenuse, so that's not it. So it's the 15th, which is the height of the triangle, and then the height, the distance in between the two triangles, which is the 20. So again, we can multiply all of those together. And when we multiply all of those together, okay, we can get those, okay, and we can get those, and let's multiply that together. So we have the 1/2, and you can also use 0.5 to go ahead and multiply that as well. Multiply by 8, multiply by 15, and multiply by 20. And for this we get 1200. feet, and it would be cubed. Okay? And next, we can do our next problem. So for example 3, and let me make this a little bit smaller so we can see all the numbers here. It says find the volume of the right triangular prism shown. And again, using the same formula. So we have volume equals capital BH. Again, we have this triangle. So we have 1/2 base times height of the triangle itself, and then times the height of the prism. And again, that's from one triangle to the other. So we have 1/2. Our base is 4. The height of the triangle here is this right here, which is 1/2. And then the height of the prism itself here is 6.5. So which is nice is, again, we have our calculator. And again, if you want, you can use 0.5 or you can use 1/2 in your calculator. It's really up to you. In this case, I am going to use the half. So 1/2 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 1/2, and then multiplied by 6 1/2. And that actually gives me 6.5, which is actually true, because if you multiply 4 times 1/2 and 1/2, that actually is 1. And I have meters cubed. Now our next one is a combination of things that we have, and it's a multiple volume representation. And we are actually going to, when we have that, we actually are adding things together. We have a right pentagonal prism and composed of a right rectangular prism joined by a right triangular prism. And it says find the volume of it. Well, it is kind of what you're looking at. It would be this rectangular prism, and we are adding the top. So we are adding two things. So we have to add the rectangular prism, and then we're going to add the triangular prism. And that's going to give us the entire figure. So for the rectangular prism, we have capital V equals capital BH. So we have length times width times height. So we have the length, which is here, the width, which is here, so 6.5, and then times the height, which is here, which is again 6.5. Here for our plus our triangular prism, so again capital V and BH. Replacing that, we have capital V, which is 1/2 that BH times the height of the prism. So we've got that. So now we've got, again, if we move this up here, our base then becomes 4. So 1/2 times 4. The height of our prism is right here, which is 1/2. And then the height of our prism, which again is the distance from one triangle to the other. So it's this distance right here, which is 6.5. So if I multiply the first set of numbers together, I'm going to multiply the 4 and this 6.5. I'm going to change that here. and multiply the 6.5, we get 169. And I'm going to bring it down now because I'm going to add to it when I multiply this out. So when I multiply that out, again, it's that 0.5 multiplied by 4, multiplied by 0.5, and multiplied by 6.5, I get 6.5. So when I add those two together, I get 175.5 meters cubed, and that would be my volume of this entire figure. And that ends the lesson.